my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be filming an eyebrow tutorial for you guys. A little backstory on my eyebrows. So when I was in high school, I actually overwaxed my eyebrows. I would literally get them done like once a week. And it got to the point where they were so thin and I had no hairs at the tail of my eyebrow. And so when that happened, I obviously stopped waxing and I let my hairs grow back, but they weren't growing back. And it wasn't until I was taking my prenatal pills that my hair started to finally grow back in slowly. I still have a lot of missing hairs, that my eyebrows are very sparse, but about a month ago I feel like I have my eyebrow routine set where I actually like them, and it makes them seem fuller than they actually are. Before, I would fill them in and they looked very defined, and now I just feel like they look a lot more natural. So I've been in love with them and I just decided to share some tips and tricks with you guys. I don't do anything to my eyebrows anymore. The only thing that I do to them is I pluck them, and that's only at the bottom and very little, just like at the very bottom. I don't like to get too close to my eyebrows just because I want it to seem like I have more hairs than I actually do. And also, I don't trim my hairs, and that's because I like to brush my hairs upwards, and having them long makes it seem like my eyebrows are fuller. So those are just like some little things that have changed in my eyebrow routine lately, and I've been loving them. So if you're interested in seeing how I get my eyebrows to look fuller and nicer, then you can just keep on watching. I'm going to start off by showing you the products and the brushes I love to use. This is the Dose of Colors concealer brush. I use this to conceal and carve out my eyebrows. Next up is the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 14 brush, and I love to use this one to fill in my eyebrows. Another reason why I love this brush is because it has a spoolie on the other end to brush out my hairs. And to blend out the concealer, I like to use the Dose of Colors blending brush. Now for the actual products, I love to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade, and this is in the shade Dark Brown. And lastly, for concealer, I like to use the one from Morphe, but honestly you can use any concealer that you already have. Now jumping right in, as you can see, I'm starting off by brushing my hairs upwards with my spoolie. Then with the concealer, straight from the wand, I'm just applying a generous amount underneath my eyebrows. You can either do it this way, or you can put the concealer in the back of your hand and work with it that way. Now taking my concealer brush, I'm going to start off by underlining my brow. I'm just going to be following the natural shape that I already have. I like to conceal first, that way I have my guide, and it also helps me with using less product. By concealing the eyebrow, it's going to make them stand out even more, and it's going to make them seem a lot cleaner. So make sure you take your time when doing this, because it can either make or break your brows. You necessarily don't have to use this concealer like I already said. You can use any that you already have. And as you can see, I also start blending the concealer downward. That's really going to help you with blending it out, especially in the end when you finish the rest of your face. Next up, I'm going to be dipping into my dip brow. And now dip brow tends to dry out really fast, so something I like to do is grab the product with my brush and then I warm it up on the back of my hand. This is also going to help you prevent from putting too much product on. I always start off towards the middle of my brow. As you can see, I have that patch with no hair, so I start by filling in that spot first, and then I work my way slowly towards the end of my brow by kind of drawing a line and then blending the product upward. As you can see, I sometimes flip the brush on the other side and I start filling it in that way. And that's just because obviously the brush has product on both sides and I just want to get the most use out of it. I don't like the top of my brow to be too harsh, so with whatever product is left on the brush, that's what I use to fill in and define my arc a little more. Also, don't forget to brush out the hairs, that way the product blends out a little more. Now working on the tail of my eyebrow, I like to take a little bit more product and then I kind of like squint my eyes, kind of like scrunch them together, and I'm just gonna be outlining the tail of my eyebrow. And sorry, I know the mirror is in the way, I didn't realize when I was recording. And like I said before, make sure you really take your time with this and constantly be brushing out your hairs. That way you can see of any spots that you left without product. And don't be afraid if you messed up, you can always go back in with your concealer brush and fix anything you did wrong. Now taking my blending brush, I'm just gonna be blending out that excess concealer. Whenever I do eyeshadow, I like to put even more concealer on my eyelid and then just blend it out with the same brush. I don't conceal the top or the middle of my eyebrow just because I want it to look more natural. Now I don't always use this, that's why I didn't show it in the beginning, but sometimes I like to use brow gel. And I just comb my hairs upwards, and then any that are sticking out, I kind of comb them to the side. And that is the finished brow. As you can see, it looks a lot fuller. It looks like I actually have a lot of hairs, not compared to this other side where I have a lot of sparse areas and an undefined arc. Now when you fill in your eyebrows like this, I definitely recommend to do a full face of makeup on. This is just how they look with a simple face on. I did something very simple, my go-to glam, just because I was gonna go to work after and I was running out of time. And so yeah, that's just how I do my eyebrows. So if you really like these voiceover, make sure to give me a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!